Hello, welcome to Photoshop Friday, where you can find Photoshop lessons that take 7 minutes or less. I'm Elise from MyScheduledBiz. Thanks for joining me. Today we are talking about recoloring parts of a photo. This dress is obviously pink. I want to change it to another color. The very first thing I'm going to do is come over here to this tool here in the selection. I'm going to do the magnetic lasso, and I'm going to attempt to select just the dress. And then when you get to the end, that little circle appears, you can click and you can see all of that is now selected. She still has this little part of her dress here that I want to add. So if you come down here, you can see this one right here says add. If I did this one, it is subtract. So I want to add to my selection. So I'm going to now try and select this part of the dress. Now if I zoom in by hitting Control or Command plus, you can see that I clearly have part of her hair there that is not actually the dress. We don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to subtract instead of add. So you can see this one says subtract. And I'm going to try and draw again, taking that hair out. And there you can see it removed the hair from there. There's a little section right here as well, so I'm going to try and remove that as well. So this part is really important because you want to make sure that you get as much of it selected and it's only the right part. So when we go to change the color, it doesn't mess up the rest of the image. So I look like I am okay on the dress, so I'm going to zoom out, just do a quick double check. Yeah, it looks good. So I've got my dress selected well. So now what we're going to do is we are actually going to make a new layer. So I'm just going to click on this to make a new layer. After you create your new layer, you need to select the background again because you have to be on the correct one. So we're going to go to Edit, Copy, and then we're going to click back on the new layer that we created and go to Edit, Paste. So for those of you who like shortcuts, that's Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste. So now you can see on this layer, the only thing I can see is the dress. So I'm going to hide the background for a moment, and you can see all I've got there is the dress. So I'm going to bring back the background, and then we're going to come up to Enhance. We're going to go to Adjust Color. Make sure that you are selected on our new layer, and we are going to Replace Color. So what you're going to do is you are going to click on whatever it is you're trying to change the color of, and the selection shows up white in this box, okay? So then I can tell that that's not the whole dress. I'm going to click on this plus dropper and start adding in the rest of the pink different variations so it'll get the whole dress. One way to tell really easily whether you've got the whole thing is you just come down here and push one of these all the way up. So I'm going to change the hue. And you can clearly see that these lighter colored pinks are not selected, so I'm going to click on those. And these darker colored pinks are not selected, so I'm going to click on those. And then if it's too far away, you can hit Control or Commands and then the plus sign to zoom in, because you really want to make sure you get all of the colors of the dress. And so you're just going to go through and select everything as much as you can. Okay, so now I'm going to come back out. You can see my dress is pretty well selected now. I don't really want it to be that color. That's kind of an odd color. But so if we go back, the original was right here. Oh, not quite. And I know that because I've got a 0 here in the hue. So this is the original color. Now let's say that I wanted to have a blue color. So I would come down and I could make this, purple. I could make this blue. So let's say this is a color that is close to what I have that is an actual color for my dress. So I can change the saturation. Let's say that it's a little bit more muted. It's not quite so bright. So now we've got a much more muted. You could hike up the saturation also if it is much brighter. And then you can also adjust the lightness. So for example, if I make this down this way, you can see it's more of a dark blue as opposed to a light blue. And if you had a really pale blue, you could hike it up this way. But you can see that I can make a lot of adjustments here to try and get it true to color for whatever the other colors are that you have of the dress. And so it gives you a lot of options here to make this image look exactly like what you want. So let's say we had more of a true blue in the same dress. So I would do that, I would hit OK. And now we can hide this new layer, and this is my original color, this is my new color. So you could go in and do another layer, copy it and do another layer. So what I would do if you wanted to do a second one is I would actually take this layer and I would duplicate that layer, because otherwise you have to try and get an exact selection again, and that's just a waste of time. So then at this point you could go in, make changes to the color. You could end up with 5 different colors if you have 5 different colors of this dress. And then you could go and follow the tutorial about how to make a GIF, and you could actually make a GIF where it would be like flashing the different colors like this on your image. And that would be really interesting for social media. It would really grab people's attention. You may even be able to use that for something like your website to immediately show people what colors are available in the dress. So this is a really great thing you can do to make your shop seem more elevated, like you really know what you're doing. So that's all for today's Photoshop Friday. Thanks for joining me. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and sign up for notifications so that you can receive more targeted teaching for your e-commerce shop in 7 minutes or less.